Ever feel like your resume is not getting the attention that it deserves? In this demo, I'm going to walk you through Resume Revival and how you can tailor your basic resume into an application that stands out. And if that sounds interesting, stick around and I'm going to show you exactly how it works. And for this demo, I found this anonymous resume on Reddit, but while we don't have their personal information, we do have their education, their work experience, their certifications, and some of their skills. This should be more than enough for us to work with. And if you don't have a resume already, that's totally fine. For the sake of this demo, I'm using one because it does speed up the process, and I'm assuming most users already do have a resume. But again, no big deal if you don't have one. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're going to create a new account. I'm going to make this one a tester account.
Password.
And yeah, creating an account is free. You start out with 5 generation credits. And what we're going to do now is we're going to upload that resume that we grabbed off of Reddit. And it's just parsing it. So large language models are currently crawling over any sort of document that you upload. Pretty soon this will even support images, so you'll be able to take a picture of a professional document, and Resume Revival will be able to parse and understand that. So it looks like we just parsed it. Remember though that this particular resume didn't have personal information, so we'll go ahead and spoof some of that. But it looks like Resume Revival did a good job of capturing the college, work experience, yep, and we got, looks like it picked up additional qualifications, but maybe we need to go in and clean that up just a little bit. And because we were not provided with personal information, again, this was an anonymous resume off of Reddit, I went ahead and did a little nod to one of my favorite TV shows, The Office, and so I put in the information for Michael Scott, and we're going to see if we can get him a job at a paper factory. So here I think I found the perfect job for Michael Scott, production supervisor at International Paper. We're going to take the job description, and this applies to any job you want to apply for, and you come back over to Resume Revival. You make sure you are in the application builder under target job information, and you can go ahead and just paste the job description. So right now Resume Revival is going to parse this and basically figure out right here exactly. So the job title, the company name, the location, whether or not it's a full-time or contract gig, if the salary is provided, it'll grab that for you. If there's any sort of application deadline, it'll also grab that. You can see the job description that it parsed for us, and you can go ahead, confirm, and inject. So then you just select the materials you want to have generated. Notice how it's showing, how many credits you'll have after you generate these things. So you start out with 5, again, free, and right now we've selected that we want a resume and cover letter generated. So after our selections are made, it's estimated that we're going to have 3 credits left. That's all I was trying to show you. But yeah, you can have resume, cover letter, your LinkedIn profile optimized, message out to recruiter, and you can have salary negotiation scripts, all sorts of great things. I'm trying to think here. Oh yeah, interview preparation is a pretty good one. Let's see. Yeah, network email templates. And let's go ahead and give that a go. So right now, large language models are basically doing a variety of things. Looking over your past experience, looking at some of the keywords that the employer clearly really cares about from the job description, and it's going to try to tell a really rich story that really tailors and maps your experience and everything for the particular role. There's a lot of really great tools too that go a little bit beyond that, and you're about to see those here in a second. Alright, so this was the resume that was generated for us. Looks like it got everything in there, including the certifications. And one thing that's kind of nice is you can switch over to this preview mode, and this will actually highlight the keywords that are in your resume that the employer is looking for. So Resume Revival at this point has looked over the job description, and it's made some predictions around what it thinks, again, that the employer really cares about. And what's kind of cool is you can also see off to this side here all of these keywords not found in your resume. So again, these are keywords that have been found in the job description that Resume Revival strongly believes should be in your resume if you really want to stand out. And it's already tried to put some of them into the resume for you, but it also showcased some of these keywords off to the side so that if you're like, hey, I identify with these, that's totally fine. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, so in the case of Michael Scott, yes, he supervised employees. Yep, he works on daily production. He's worked with corrugated board, I'm sure, assigning work, directing work, evaluating employee performance. We've all seen that in the show. Rewarding employees, disciplining employees. He doesn't really do a great job of that, but whatever. Quality production. We're going to go ahead and check that off. But teamwork, resolving conflicts, lead employees, motivate employees, operational communication, oral communication, written communication, safety compliance, quality programs, training documentation, supervisor experience. I'm not going to read all of these off, but you get the idea. I hope that he has the GED equivalent. We'll see. 3 shifts, weekends. Sometimes Resume Revival will pick up words that don't always make the most sense. Just use, your best discretion. But it doesn't really happen a ton. Supervisor vacations, yeah. See, you wouldn't want to put that on there, right? So, but what's nice here is down at the bottom, you'll notice that by default this is checked, but it says also add these keywords to remembered keywords. So this is checked by default. So what happens is basically if Resume Revival sees that you've checked off these keywords and acknowledged that they belong in your resume, if Resume Revival encounters a job in the future where some of these keywords showed up and by default the resume that was generated for you didn't have them, it can actually autofill and inject these for you. So you're not having to go through with every single job and re-identifying yourself to these skills, right? So, and this is an option you can toggle on and off. So if there's a skill that, for one particular job you might want to sit on the fence about and say yes, I have that, knowing that you can brush up on it pretty quickly. It doesn't have to be saved, but this is just kind of a time efficiency saver and everything for you. But I'm going to add these selected keywords, and you're going to see that the ATS score just went up to 88%. Can't remember what it was before, but I'm assuming it was probably somewhere pretty low, around 20. So if you have auto quick fill selected, this is going to do exactly what I sort of alluded to a moment ago, where these remembered keywords with time, they're going to actually get automatically injected into your resume. And this is exactly how it injects itself, right? So this is the nice thing about the preview mode, is you can actually see where those keywords kind of land in your resume. And so Resume Revival will inject these keywords that you identify with into the skill section of your resume. I do recommend that, if you've got the extra time, to try to kind of weave these out maybe more strategically throughout your resume. But this right here by itself is a huge boost. I really can't, stress enough how much of a boost this is. But you can also go to Manage Remembered Keywords. So if you accidentally selected some that were, remembered for you, and you're this keeps being automatically pumped into my resume, and actually I don't have that skill, that's totally fine. For instance, we can knock out organizational skills because we know that Michael Scott really doesn't have those, so we probably don't want to remember those for the future, right? So, and if you do need to make edits, you just toggle yourself out of this preview mode. That's fine. Cover letter. You don't get an ATS score with this. Generally, employers aren't scanning, your cover letter as much. Same thing though, you can kind of get preview mode, which just gives you a little bit cleaner way of looking at this. Message to recruiter. You've got interview preparation. This one's kind of nice. So you can actually flip through, questions and answers and actually test yourself for any job you want to apply for. There's some more creature comforts coming for this too, to where, you're going to be able to get more than 5 questions here in the near future, but pretty excited about how this is kind of shaped out so far. And networking email templates. So here's some examples of, if you're going to network and everything with people at the company you're trying to apply to, some just templates of what you might, some of the content you might send out. So we're going to go back over to Resume, and once you're happy with everything, you can download it. Note that if you need to add anything like a responsibility, you can. It's pretty easily. If you need to add an additional entire work experience entry, you can do that. Same with education, qualifications, all that good stuff. So we just downloaded the resume, and I'm going to open that up here, and you'll be able to see what that looks like here in a second. All right, and here you can see the resume that we had generated for Michael Scott. This is the Word document I have opened up. We've got, his personal information up here at the top, professional summary. We got the skills, education, experience, additional qualifications. I will say, there's not a lot of bullet points for these work experience, and the reality is we basically took, someone's previous job, previous experience, right, where they were an analyst, data analyst intern, and an English teacher, and we tried mapping that to someone working at a paper factory. So I think that's why in this particular case the bullets aren't particularly thick. But that being said, if you had more relevant experience to the job you're applying for, you would definitely expect to see more bullets. Let's see. Oh yeah, a few more things with Resume Revival that I just wanted to show. These are some great creature comforts. So if you happen to apply for more jobs with Resume Revival, they're all going to show up, below this particular entry, right, where we have international beeper. And you can switch between, or excuse me, you can filter your search so that you're seeing like salary ranges, high to low. You can see which jobs have you applied to most recently. Oh yeah, you can switch and acknowledge, if you're in the offer phase or if you've just applied. By default, it marks every application you generate as having been applied to. But yeah, you can switch over to interview, and I'll show you a little bit more on how you can track your progress, but I think that's pretty handy. One thing I like about this too is you see the job description. Sometimes you'll apply for a job and it might be like a month or so after you applied before they actually interview you. And the awkward part is sometimes by then the job description has been delisted. And so it's just nice and handy to know that you still always have a place where you can revert back to and know the job that you applied to. I know that's happened a couple of times with me where, you apply to a job and yeah, that job description goes away and can be a little awkward. So, but yeah, so for this one, we'll just say we're in the offer phase, and let's see, we'll go over to the dashboard, and this is another place where you have just some nice views and everything, some overall views on the jobs that you've applied for. So you'll be able to see what are the jobs I've applied to in the last 14 days, 30 days. Again, this was a test demo account, so we only have this one entry. Okay, you also have this progress distribution. So, I mean, for most people, this is going to be a pie chart where you just see a lot of jobs having been applied to. And, ideally we see a lot, a good amount also in like the interview phase and stuff moving on through. So, but because we've only applied to one job and we acknowledge that we're in the offer phase, you just see that right now it's all green and everything. So, yeah, that's Resume Revival. This is the dashboard, and I've showed you at this point, how you can generate materials, some of the creature comforts that the platform offers for you to be able to track your progress. And yeah, I mean, if you have any other features that you want to inquire about and everything, you can reach me on my LinkedIn, the Resume Revival LinkedIn page, but also go over to this contact section on Resume Revival. Just put in your name, your email, and any message you want to send. Ideally, around features and everything for Resume Revival, because I do want to make this a better product for everyone. So yeah, that's the demo for Resume Revival. I hope you like it, and more soon.